You won't make $1 off of me.
Straight
it
up.
will not be off my back. Ooh. Color it again.
Hey, dog hit.
Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Intisar, but you can call me Zar. This is my beautiful husband, Joe. Okay.
Hey.
And we are back and we're talking all things Married at First Sight. But before we get into that, I want you guys to take a moment, if you have not already, to bust down, subscribe to this channel, guys. We're talking. I want you guys to come on through and get to know us more. We'll be doing way more vlogs in the coming weeks. We got a couple lined up for you guys.
Yeah.
So we're excited for you to hear that. And I also want us to get into these drinks that my man done made us tonight.
So this is just it's like a basic gin and tonic.
Is
with
it basic?
I don't know. I didn't try to get too freaky with it, but it's like a basic gin and tonic with some muddled raspberry.
Yes, we love a gin and tonic. So let's cheers to we celebrated our very first Valentine's Day together.
Yes.
As a married couple. So let's cheers to young love, old love, and real love.
And our first Valentine's Day.
Cheers.
We're gonna throw out a video from the night we had. We went to a really cool little restaurant spot, and we just are gonna share it with y'all.
Yeah, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. We're gonna be giving you guys a little bit more of a tour of our lives, and so you guys, it can get real personal stuff. But what I want to say is this. If you have not already, make sure you're following Joe and I on our socials. They're at the bottom, okay? Because I'm thinking about us doing, I'm just telling him what we're going to do right now. I'm thinking about us doing a Q&A. So for Joe's birthday one year, we did, I did like a questions, like a wine tasting, but it was associated with questions with grown folks, so it was fun. And it got like with every glass of wine, it was a different wine bottle, and then everybody would try it, and we would have like a spicier and spicier question. So
yeah,
I would love it if you guys drop down in our DMs. You can drop down here in the comments and ask us some questions so we know what we can talk about and chit chat with y'all. Like, what do y'all want to know? So okay, let's get into Married at First Sight. So It is motherfucking moving day, y'all, and it only took us 9 weeks to get here.
For sure.
How the hell y'all gonna get us to believe that it ain't been 8 weeks already?
I mean, this is pretty usual. They are on this tip now where they're gonna stretch this out, and because they are one less couple, it's really gonna get stressed out.
Well, you done came right out shooting, huh?
I mean,
we couldn't even get to it.
I'm just saying that's what it is.
So, I mean, but we got some things to talk about before we get there. I mean, spoiler alert.
Everybody watching this review already saw the episode.
Let's talk about, let's leave with the people that we not really, let's talk about Stephen Noy, because they don't give much.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but meh. So Stephen Noy, I actually really like them together. I think that they're a super cute couple. And but she's really matter-of-factly. It's fascinating to me. Like, not in a disrespectful way, but in a way where she's like not going to move on her decision.
Yeah, she's stubborn.
Okay. Is that what I wanted to say?
Yeah, she's stubborn, and she's very much so in her single mindset of this is how I am, and you can take it or leave it. I'm not going to change for anybody. And we've talked about this people coming in with this mindset before in prior seasons, and we all agree when you come in with that mindset, you're bound to drizzle. We got it in 5 minutes. But it's true. I mean, you come in like that thinking this is just how I am. You got to take it. I'm not going to change for anybody. Like, that's not that's not how you flourish in a marriage or any relationship, for real.
And I can see that. I really, really can. But I think that I can see how she's going to come around. But it's very clear that they're not having like the conversations that they should be having.
They don't talk at all to me. It seems like it's like,
I think they're kind
have
of
you
like
ever,
ogling each other, like,
yes,
you know what I mean? But not really like talking about anything.
yeah, like, have you ever been around somebody? It could have been a relationship or it could have just been a friend where y'all are good in certain spaces. When stuff is happening, there's an event or something, but you realize like when it's just you two, y'all really don't have a lot to share. Y'all don't talk a lot. You know what I mean? Like that what they remind me of. Like just one of those relationships where there really isn't any substance.
Yeah,
They're
plenty of those.
they just, you know what I mean? They're just hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they remind me of. Because then when Pastor Kyle comes in and starts asking real questions,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't know, I never thought about this. Y'all talking about kids and whatnot. Y'all haven't talked about the real stuff. You know what I mean?
But even how many, I don't even like that. Don't even bother me. People say things, you know, when they're first in like and everything like that. I think the bigger issue for me is that you can't be so open about those things, like, oh, children, this and that, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Like not the fact that you were a refugee or like any, like those are big things to talk about. Like, you know what I mean? Because that even affects how you do, like those traumatic experiences, those traumatic moments in a child's life affects everything they do from that point forward, even down to wanting to sleep in the bed with a dog and a man.
Right.
Like you, like,
but as
y'all let y'all dog sleep in the bed with y'all, be for real.
The problem is some people do, and this is my stance on that. Whatever you do in your single life is fine by me. Agree. But when you become somebody's husband, when you become somebody's wife, you can't just be forcing your single ways on them and really just not giving a fuck. And we've seen people do that a lot in the past too, where, well, this is what I do. He always sleeps with me. Yeah, but you didn't always have a husband. Now you do. So now you need to ask him, are you okay with the you know, with my dog sleeping or my cat sleeping in the bed? You know, you have to take into account somebody else's feelings. And it's just annoying when these people, and they would look at the experts like they crazy. Like, why would I take my dog out the bed?
You know, I think it's so much going on in this scene, especially because we get to see how much, like I said, they don't talk about. But I think the other part of this is the conversation around whether or not, you know, Steve's job and everything like that, or lack of. So we did see him go into an Airbnb that he called his apartment. That
straight up. Okay. We're not sure. We need to see the receipts. It reminds me of, who was the girl from was it 2 seasons ago? Airplane. Was her name Christina?
Yes, and why has that not come up? She was a scammer, bro. I don't care what nobody says.
She was for sure homeless.
And it's not up for debate. She was the first round at this. The only difference is that, you know, he has the skills. Like he was talking about, like, I could do, like, you know, photography. I could do website development. I could do this. I could do that. And it's like, so he does have the skills to be somebody who is
an entrepreneur,
successful, and an entrepreneur. Because Joe and I had that conversation too. Like he was like, well, you know, it's disconcerting for anybody to hear like, oh, you don't want to work or whatever, or contribute to that. I mean, not don't want to work, but you don't want to work or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest issue that I had, and it sounds like her biggest fear of, like, not having a 9 to 5 or clocking in somewhere. We in a day and age now where it's cool to not have a 9 to 5, right? So I don't think that's not even, I don't even think that was Noy's worry of like the kind of job. Yeah. It to me it was like, you seem like you don't have a desire to work, like you just want to backpack through the aisles.
But you like any work.
Yeah, like, because who wouldn't be nervous, especially coming from living as a refugee, literally, and then hearing that your husband is like, oh, I gotta think about working because I ain't really down.
Yeah,
I'd be freaked out too.
And I get it, and I really, really, really do get it. But part of me feels like that ain't his cross to bear. I know that sounds bad.
What's not?
Like, he cannot, like, yes, is she fearful about the finance thing? Yes. But do I feel like he's supposed to hold the same fear because she does? No,
he not. It's not holding the fear.
I mean, like
being
moving, acting like
aware
that.
of it. It's being aware of it, and just like we talked about, them not sharing information that allows you to know how to better navigate the relationship.
Yeah.
This is one of them, right? Like if you've gone through some traumatic thing in your life, right? Say you almost died in a car accident,
Yeah.
right? Or say situation with Katina. Let's take something that happened on the show. Situation with Katina. Katina is terrified to get on the horse, right? Or whatever. Say it's because she actually had a terrible horse riding accident where she almost
Yeah.
died. And if I don't know that, I'm like, come on, girl,
Yeah.
you know
You
what I'm
gotta
saying?
be
You
empathetic.
so if I now know
Yeah.
you act this way because you almost died on a horse, I
Yeah.
move differently, right? We had a therapist tell us, um, once you know you're responsible, right?
Once you know, you
You're
are
responsible. And so I think
responsible.
that is just the thing of being responsible for this information. So you know how to move with your spouse because you can have more empathy
Mm-hmm.
with more information.
Well, say it then, Pastor.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm hoping that he takes that information, and it didn't sound like he just didn't want to work. It sounded like he hadn't communicated if he had any plans at all,
Right.
and I think that has a lot to do with also the conversations that y'all having.
Right.
Okay, so but I literally put in here, why do y'all let dogs sleep in your bed? Oh my
Yo, that's
goodness.
not it. I'm
That
sorry.
is not it. Okay, so let's talk about Mark and Lindsay. They got the bed bugs chair. And
Which is a real thing in Boston. Let me tell y'all, Boston is uh they struggle with cleanliness. I'll say that.
well, the
We
people from Boston will be mad. Not the people, the city.
listen, we do not care. So story time, since we've been hearing in the comments, y'all want some real life stories. I used to live in Boston because I went to school
Yeah.
in Boston. I went to college in Boston. Zar comes to visit me
Mm-hmm.
and she's getting bit up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I think I got bed bugs. And I'm
No,
like,
I think you got, because that wasn't mine.
no. I mean big bug bites. Bites.
I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
didn't think that there were she was staying in my dorm or my apartment at the time.
Yeah.
So she said, I think I have bed bug bites. And I'm like, no, because I don't have bed bug bites.
Right.
So you can't, we sleeping in the same bed. Like in my mind,
And we were in real close proximity.
yeah. So in my mind, I'm like, you can't, we can't be staying in the same place, sleeping in the same bed. And you got bit and I didn't get bit. And then you want to tell them what happened?
Child, I went home to see my mama. Because I think I had been there for a couple
No,
weeks.
before you went home, you saw.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. First, I went home to see my mom, and then she said, "You getting bit about," because my mom was. I was wearing, like, it was summertime. I was wearing my back out, and my mom was like, "What is on your back?" And it was like literally like a trail of bites up and down my back, and I was like, "Well, Joe said we ain't got bed bugs. I don't know." Like, and let me tell y'all something. At the time, me and Joe was like kind of on the ins and outs. And I was like, I shouldn't even be here. I legit thought, and here's my hand, y'all know I'm a witch. I thought my body is not responding to this human being, and I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I'm just not, like, the energy is not the energy I should be consuming. This ain't the person I should be consuming, all that stuff like that. And kind of find out, I get back to the friggin' thing. I get back to Boston because I took my black ass back. And
Clearly.
And the couch, it was a couch outside the apartment building that said, "Don't take bed bugs." So, I don't even think did we have camera? Look, I was going to say, I don't even think we had camera phones at the time.
Yeah, we did. I remember.
Yeah,
I think I had a little switch joint that went up at the time.
And so I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, they got a couch out here. They said they got bed bugs. I was so mad because bed bugs really make you go crazy, y'all. Because
it's the invisible, like a demon in the room. Like, you don't know where they at. You don't know where they coming from. You don't know what they've gotten into. So, but the moral of the story is Boston has a cleanliness problem. And I think during that time, I had later found out that almost the whole block had bed bugs.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest rats I ever seen was in the streets of Boston. Like, Boston is almost worse than New York as far as like certain areas. But okay.
But he's saying all that to say, we're not even mad at you, Mark, for having an infestation like that.
It's not Mark.
Get it. It's not you, bro. And he said on the after show that he felt a little bit embarrassed by that. And I can understand why he felt that way, like 1,000%. However, the people out here, these people are like, most people get it, you know what I mean? But he got frustrated with her ass because she was just like, let's go. She was like a drill sergeant. And not allowing him to process what he was going through so soon. Because you got to think, like, he got married, honeymoon, and then basically kicked out his spot.
And not only that, but they gave us some background on the after party that the bedbug situation happened right before he had to leave to go get married.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We were watching the show and we were thinking, what? How the hell did he even know that he had bedbugs if he was in Cancun or wherever? So he let us know that like it was a crazy stressful time because he's getting married to a person he's never met before. He's leaving
all the personality.
He's leaving his home in an uproar because he has bed bugs. And then as soon as he gets on his honeymoon, his landlord, that's why the landlord was blowing him up, because she's like, you need to come deal with these bed bugs. And he's like, I have to go get married. And I'm also contractually obligated to be here, so I can't leave.
You don't think he's a little bit of a punk? I mean, I don't want to say that. I think that I respect that he gives Lindsay the room to be Lindsay, but I think that it's because it's at such a detriment to himself, he makes himself the martyr. And I cannot stand stuff like that. Like, if you don't advocate for yourself, if she made a valid point, like, you got to show up anyway. Like, I recognize I can consume a room. We all been around people like that that suck the energy out of a room. However, if I'm with that person, it's still my responsibility to be like, you are not giving me enough room.
But I think the real issue in this part is communication, right? Yeah. I think on his part, it was on him to communicate more of his feelings and more of what was going on.
Yeah.
I think Lindsay was dead wrong in the meeting with Pastor Kyle, because in the same breath, she said, just moments before, she said, his life is imploding around him. And then she gets in a meeting and yells at him for not being himself, right? That's not real life. You know what I mean?
That is not real
life.
When
you feel, especially when you do life every day with a human being, they are not going to be themselves
all the
time, right?
Yeah.
So I go through things, mood changes, ups and downs. Zar is as bubbly and as fun and energetic as Zar is. Zar ain't like this 24/7, right? So if Zar is it not true?
I know, but you ain't gonna call me the scout.
But I just said we both, every human being is dynamic in that way, right? Yeah. So if Zara is going through something, she's not. I can't go to her and be like, "You ain't the same. You're giving me that bad energy. I ain't." You know what I mean?
I do that to you, though.
No, you don't.
I don't.
No, you.
I be feeling like I'm over you being over.
You might be thinking it, but you don't do that. You give me the space to be whatever, to go through whatever I'm going through. You ask, "What can I do to help?" That's how you handle it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what she did. She said, I need more of you. And you just told us that his life he's homeless, literally.
You're the one who said it was fucking chaotic,
you literally said that his life is falling and crumbling around him.
She is really fascinating. And what I appreciate, even though honestly, I love Pastor Kyle and I really need him to know that. Like,
I got a bone to pick with Pastor Kyle, so let me know when I can pick it.
Is it with do I have a bone to pick with Pastor Kyle?
I do.
Or the whole production?
I have a bone to pick with Pastor Kyle first specifically, and then the rest of the cast.
But wait, why? Is it for something that we're going to talk about later, or just in general?
It's for later.
Okay. You hold on to it, Daddy. You hold on to it. Well, I really feel like in this moment with Lindsay and Mark, Pastor Kyle really wanted to say, I'm going to speak for Pastor Kyle, so give me a second. Pastor Kyle wanted to say, Lindsay, nobody likes you. We went high and low to find you a match because the producers told us to.
Literally.
Okay, so now we done bought you this man, and you showed up and said any old thing out your mouth like your daddy told us you would.
Yeah. And
it's like, I get you, Pastor Kyle. Like when he said you are a lot, I think I don't even know what that's like. Like you are, like if somebody, a third party told me I am a lot, therapist, pastor, I'm going to curse you to out.
He literally was on some stuff like, we know that you're a lot, and like I think he was low-key trying to tell Mark like there was a method to our madness here, so don't be super pissed at us.
Because I don't think Mark's a lot.
He's not. I don't know where
he said that. I was like, I don't think Mark's a lot.
He did say that, and I was kind of confused at that commentary too. Like, what do you mean? Like, Mark is the most like the Mark the Shark thing is more of a joke about
him being a predator.
Yeah, but right.
I'm not sure,
But
but I'm
it's more
sure.
of a like his friends laughing at him.
Yeah, for
More,
sure.
more so than like Mark, like just yeah, being
Yeah.
all over the place. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Well, I think that Pastor Kyle kind of got Lindsay together in the way that she needed. But it is so fascinating how they have all these big personalities on this season, like major talkers. Like, you know what I
mhm.
mean? I don't like between her and Elijah Wan, I'm like, y'all need some imitating like Adderalls. Y'all need like some CBD. Like something got to bring y'all
Straight
down
up.
because it's too much. Like it's just way too much. But I do like what he said. The only thing I don't really care for with Mark and Lindsay, and if I'm keeping it 100, him taking the intimacy off the table, I think that's a sign of nothing good.
You're talking about Mark.
Yes,
Mark taking I think Mark is terrified.
it's not up for
I
debate.
think he's terrified, and I think that in his mind, he probably got he probably got advice from somebody that tried to warn him about how to deal with Lindsay, and I think they told him, whatever you do,
Hmm.
don't fuck her because it'll just make her even more crazy.
How about that?
Because I think he's terrified. You saw in the preview clips of them for next episode of them being in the bowling alley, and you can surmise that it's because she's drunk and he's
Yeah.
terrified of being around her while she's drunk. And even when she's not drunk, like there was a meme. I wish I would have got that. There was a meme where I don't know if y'all know the little like weird, like it was like a weird monkey looking character. And it's like, this is how Mark always looks at Lindsay when she's talking. It's just him doing this, like he's terrified. He looks like a
Oh
stick figure. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
I remember that.
I think he felt like if I have sexual intercourse with her, it's gonna
It's
heighten
done.
emotions. She's gonna be she's already on 10. She's gonna go to 15.
But that's why. But that Pastor Cow, the reason why he's a pastor, not a therapist, is because of this. What you're doing is punishing her for the behavior you do not like. And you're not in a place to do that to another adult.
I
It
think in
is your
Mark's
responsibility to have the conversation with her
it's
and let her know.
communication. Because
It,
I don't think Mark intended on I don't think Mark it was a retaliation for Mark. I think Mark just doesn't know
but
what to
it
do with
doesn't
his
but
hands.
that doesn't mean it isn't. Murder is murder despite the intent,
Yeah.
right? So the reality is that means not. That means not. You used to get upset and leave. You would get upset because you felt like you needed. I mean, you would leave because you felt like you absolutely needed to do that. That didn't make me feel any less like you were doing something.
Right. I was just giving an insight into I don't think that just insight into
Of
Mark's
course
mentality.
he
I don't
doesn't think that that's what that is.
yeah.
That does not mean that that's not what that is. You know what I mean? The reality is that you have a responsibility. You thought you were you may not have intended to punish her, but that does not mean she doesn't receive it that
Yeah, she
way.
probably does. I think Mark just literally has no clue what to do at this point. Because I
He
think
has no clue.
even when he's sitting in the session with Pastor Kyle, he doesn't know what to do with his hands. Pastor Kyle is like, Mark, talk.
It's so
Tell me how you feel.
crazy.
He's scared to. You can tell that he's scared to even express himself. And I
Which I
think he
get.
just does this whenever. And I think to me, the sex thing was just him doing this.
In his
Like, I don't know what
defense,
to do.
though, in his defense, we get it. Listen, Mark,
Yeah.
I'm saying all this for
Who does
like
know how to
Angel's
deal with a
advocate,
Lindsay?
but she sucks a lot of energy out of the
Yeah,
space. She
that's a
sucks a
fact.
lot of energy out of the TV when I'm
Yeah, we'd
watching
be
it.
tired after
Yeah, for real. Like
Lord.
they really need to put their segment at the end.
For
But
real.
it's like,
We'd
you
be
know what I
worn
mean?
out emotionally.
Worn out.
Like,
So I can get why he feels that way. I'm just saying that he still has a responsibility to show up, but we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because they only been married for 2 weeks or whatever the
what
case
she
may be.
said in the session. Like, I just met you, lady.
Like, girl, good day. So let's talk really quick about Elijah Wan and him wanting Katina to be cooking and cleaning and doing all the things. What?
Well, I
Uh-oh.
think this, and I think this is a storyline too that they, we talked about how
It is such a storyline. You're
they
absolutely
pick
right.
storylines for people. I think they're trying to make Olajuwon the extreme end of the story because Katina is the extreme opposite end of the story, right? Olajuwon is just saying, I want my woman to cook, and I'm excited to be in a space with somebody who can cook because that's really not him, right? Katina does not cook at all.
Well, she cooked them. She cooked the spaghettis and
No,
the
she
garlic
said
breads.
prior that living with him. She's prior to her
Oh
living with
yeah,
him.
she did say
She
that
said,
she
"I
used to
just
go
go
out all the
out and
time.
I don't cook." You know what I'm saying? And her family said she don't know how to cook. She said she don't know how to cook. So I think they're playing it up like Pastor Kyle said, like he's on some Neanderthal type. I'm gonna bash you over your head, and you got to be in the kitchen barefoot and
I
pregnant.
think the
And
way
he
he
doesn't.
says things does, but he might be a producer like Lindsay is.
Right.
Elijah Wan, that is. I think that the way that he says things can come off a little bit like what? Because I think
Yeah.
that it is something to
But
like
let me tell
one.
you, if you throw me in a joint with a joint,
Oh,
I just
okay.
went way too
Oh!
Philly. Sorry, y'all. I went way too Philly on y'all.
I knew exactly
People
what you
from
was
Philly
talking
know what I was
about.
talking
I knew
about.
exactly what you was talking
Shout
about.
out to
I was like, go
Abbott
ahead.
Elementary School because they have
Yes.
perfected. Um, if you throw me in a situation with a John who cannot cook, I'm gonna be looking at her just like Elijah one. Like, huh?
Mm,
And you know me, I'm not the you gotta be cook every night and da da da.
that guy.
I'm not that
I do
way.
cook every night
I'm
though.
right, but that I'm not on this,
No,
you know what I'm saying?
no.
But I would be like, huh?
Yeah.
What you mean you can't? I'm a bachelor now. Like
Oh my
I'm back
god.
to you
But
know
no, if she tried to cook though, you would
Salisbury
be okay.
steaks
Ugh.
and what's the frozen
Ooh,
pizza that you don't
y'all,
like?
Joe made. Oh, don't get me started on pizza. That pizza will start a fight in this
What's the
house.
pizza that you put?
DiGiorno.
Oh, I used to love some
I
DiGiorno.
mean, love it. He used to
Every
do
week.
a lot of things.
Every week I would do the
He's so
DiGiorno.
elevated now.
I am.
He used to do a lot of things that I used to be like, we do not do this anymore. Like, what is
But
this?
that brings me to like this whole thing where they're obviously this episode, the theme is that everybody's going over each other's spaces and seeing their personal spaces. All the women is going in here like, well, this looks like a bachelor pad. It is a bachelor
Which
pad.
is really
Like, I don't what did y'all expect these dudes to look
to
like?
have I don't understand it. And I think that it also
Most of us are eating TV dinners, like
come on.
you know what I mean? Like,
Come
why? What did you expect? He was a bachelor before he met you a week
He
ago.
absolutely positively was. Like, who are we talking about? Elijah Wan and Katina, they go to his house, they see his home and everything like that. And she was like, we can fix a little things or whatever the case
Yeah,
may
she
be.
said she could see herself living there,
Yeah,
which
which is good. But she just was like, we might have to judge some things, which I think is appropriate.
and very.
Is it premature?
No, it's just very basic. Like you bring somebody in your space, they got to make it their space too. So
Right.
that's not.
But
crazy.
do you feel like he's actually being like, we? Because my thing is that we ain't doing it. What do Elijah Wan do for a living, y'all?
Let me tell you, I do not know.
What do you do for? We been talking about looking at Steve. What do Elijah Wan do, y'all? But still didn't let us know.
They told us obviously
no,
at
they
some
really
point,
did
but
tell
I
us.
just
They told us for sure.
do not remember.
I just don't remember. But I thought it was fascinating that he was saying, like, you got to pay the cost to be the boss around me. Okay. Like, and let me tell you something. If you talk heavy, I'm going to challenge you every time. My thing is this. You want somebody that's cooking and doing all this. If I say I want you to go in there and blow a goddamn wall out, that's best be what you do. Like, I don't understand how you can have all these demands and then I'm supposed to just do nothing but serve things up.
And this is just more of
dumb.
This is it's just more dumb. This is just more of the single mindset of like, what do you mean you want to change? Like you're now cohabitating with a whole nother human being, and that whole nother human being is a woman, right?
Like,
so
what?
you can't expect you to still keep the Michael Jordan posters on the wall. All the rooms is black and brown. Like you just can't. You can't. Like I don't get it. You know what I mean?
I do
so
not get it.
It's the
that's gonna cost $50,000. You know how much it's gonna cost? Shut up. Is he in construction?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, child.
Because then it would be free.
Period.
Anybody who works in construction ain't paying a dime for any type of construction.
Anybody, listen. My girlfriend got a whole brand new house. Shout out to her. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. She got a whole brand new house out of Mother Jumper. Okay, go to that there. But but I'm telling you. So my thing is, Katina, I get it. Now they sit there and they talk to Pastor Kyle and they talk about, how he can come off as a Neanderthal, right? All the, sometimes because
she said it was his delivery, which we all understand.
Because he said himself, he cooks breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets up, he makes sure that they have a little something or whatever the case may be. I don't have a problem with him saying.
Me neither.
I think what he wants to say is, I want to feel taken care of.
1,000%.
And I don't have any problem with him saying that.
1,000%. And I think that we understand it the same way when a woman says something similar. This goes back to the conversation, not to get off track, But this goes
But
back
y'all
to,
know how we did.
yeah. But this goes back to the conversation of roles that we talked about. I don't know how many seasons ago, and people like don't like how it hits their ears, but in reality, roles is what makes every team,
Period.
all the best teams are, whether we talking about sports analogy or whether we talking
Or
about
corporate
or corporate, right?
or relationship.
All the best teams work because everybody is playing their what? Their role,
And that's
right?
because you have to understand your assignment.
Period.
Like sometimes you're just assigned something different. Like we cannot both do these same things. Like you
Period.
know
And
what I mean?
we're better when we balance out each other's weakness.
1,000%. And I think it's okay. And however you feel like you take care of your spouse, like it doesn't necessarily have to be like cooking and cleaning. Like for me,
At all.
that's what I do.
It
Like
could
you know
be
what I
different.
mean?
We
But
had a friend couple who the wife never cooked because the husband was very good at cooking and it worked.
yes.
You know what I mean? He never felt like, oh, I ain't getting enough food.
Yeah, yeah, that's
He
true.
was the cook.
That's true.
She did not cook. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But the only
That's true.
the point here is that there was roles and
Yeah.
it worked because somebody got we got to eat here, so it don't have to be the woman. It
Yeah.
work whatever works for you, but somebody got to play a position.
Yeah.
Somebody has to play a role. That's all it is. But
Yo,
people get up
Joe
in arms
cooked
about that.
one time, once. This was the moment I decided he'll never cook for me.
What did I do? What did I do?
You made pasta, and it was like, oh, I don't even want to talk about it because it make my back of my throat hurt.
What?
I don't know what you did to it, but it like it was like, was the word coagulated? I think that's the word I want to use.
Like it was too
like,
thick.
Oh, and it hit my tongue, y'all. I said,
Well, she's a texture person because
I am a texture
I
person.
can because I can I'm not too bad on the flavors. I can give you some flavor. Like I cooked the salmon the one time you ain't feel like cooking, and that was pretty good.
Yes, you did. You did a really good job. But then no, you did another fish.
I did another fish too.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
She don't like texture. Like I I make some when we had a brunch story time really short. when we were back in the old place in LA and we did a big brunch one weekend with my sister and her friends and our friends, and I made the biggest pot of grits.
Yes, he did
people tried to eat the metal of the pot.
But guess who don't eat grits?
It's her. She don't like the texture of it, but everybody to a man was like, Joe, them grits was
but I don't care right because I'm your wife.
No, my point is I'm caping for my cooking. I'm not.
Oh, you ain't got
I can put some flavor. I can put some flavor. I'm nowhere near the cook that she is, but I got some certain things that if I decide to kind of put my foot in it, I can, and you will lick the bowl.
Okay, well, you go ahead and make that for me one day.
You don't want to eat it. You don't want to eat them grits.
Right. But I'm also, it's not even just that, y'all. I don't put a lot of people food in my mouth. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I got a thing. Like I got a whole complex. But we were talking about Katina and Olajuwon. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And how the food thing is such a big deal. And I think that if he's taking care of things, she can come through and take care of whatever he needs her to take care of. I don't think it's wrong with him saying, I just want to feel taken care of.
And let me tell you one thing that Olajuwon has shown me is that as hyper as he can be, as a lot that he can be, he is very level-headed and he's understanding, right? I don't think he expects her to be cooking 4-course meals every night. I think he just expects her to actually cook something. And because she's not a cook at all, I think it plays into like the extreme.
How do y'all feel about, because to your point, how do y'all feel about, you pay the cost to be the boss? Like in reality, I feel like if you take care of you taking care of the mortgage, or you doing this and you doing that, and I don't have to contribute.
But I think that this situation goes back to the roles thing of like strengths, right? Being the best team is having everybody maximize their best ability, right? So if cooking is not her best ability, right? Maybe we being Katina and Olajuwon need to lean into roles. Maybe Olajuwon is a better cook. Because let me tell you the sign that she really can't cook. Pastor Kyle came over and she made spaghetti. Spaghetti is literally the meal for people who
Let
can't
me tell
cook.
you something.
In college,
Black
I might
people.
have made spaghetti 4 days a week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just put the pasta in, put the meat in. That's it. Like, you
And
know,
I did not like spaghetti as much, and now I love it.
you like elevated
Yeah, because
spaghetti because you
I'm
like
real
Italian food.
particular. Yeah, I'm real particular. But I love it now. So, but I think she, to your point, it is something that you could just throw together, child. But
It's very
we
cooking
don't know. She
101.
might be the barefoot contessa. You don't
I
even know
don't
who
know.
that
I have
is.
no clue. I have no recollection.
You have no idea. So, how do y'all feel about them not screwing?
I think that this is Olajuwon, and we said this while we were watching the show. I think this is Olajuwon being overly cautious of messing this up, over extreme self-correcting. He was the opposite, right?
Yeah.
He was in the streets and he was mowing everything down and ruining
Ooh,
relationships, right? So I think now he's overcorrecting, which we've seen everybody has done it at some point, overcorrecting in something, right?
Yeah.
Everybody to the point of a fault, right?
Mhm.
So it's like you don't even got to go that far, you know what I mean? But I think we get in our heads about certain things, certain weaknesses that we might have, and then we overcorrect too much. And I think this is him over. He feels like in the past I have ruined things because I've leaned too much in the physical, leaned too much in the sexual space. And I think now and I think it was great that Pastor Kyle showed up and earned his check and said, you know what?
I mean, is
it's
he
okay.
checks for the other shows?
I mean,
I wonder.
is any of the experts
I'm curious.
finna earn a check?
I'm curious.
But I'm glad that they sent him in so he could say, because sometimes you need a voice to say, like, it's okay. Like, you want to have sexual intercourse with your wife. You are not, what was his old name? Elijah? I don't know. You're not that guy anymore. Isaiah? I don't know. Isaac. You're not that guy anymore. This is your wife. And she also is okay with you wanting to be physical with her. And so I think he just needed to hear that.
Y'all think, you ever look at a couple and think, ooh,
they fucking?
Yes.
No.
I do it.
It's only until we will be out and she will say, and then I'll be like, oh, okay. But I never think.
What I mean, you ever see a couple and you look at them and you think, ooh.
You might think like, oh, they're a pretty couple, but I never think like, oh, they.
I immediately.
You know what? I do think though? What? When I think their sex is bad, I do think that. I do see people and I'm like, somebody is very unhappy.
It ain't hitting
in that space.
Yes. But I think they'll be fine. I'm saying no to say I think they'll be fine.
I think they do too. They to me are in the catbird seat in this whole out of the whole cast. I think that they are the most pleasurable to watch.
I agree.
I like,
even though Elijah want to do a lot.
He do, but Katina reels him in, and she calms him a lot. And I think he gives her the space to do that. And I think she gives him the space to be Olajuwon.
Yes, she does.
And I think that they will stay together. We're not there yet where we're making these predictions.
Oh, no.
But I think that I can see them staying together. They remind me a lot of, like I told y'all in the beginning, they remind me a lot of Woody and Imani. Shout out to Woody and Imani because they have a baby now.
Well, they have a baby on the way. They don't have it yet.
I mean, it's not out, but they're a baby.
Cooking. It's not out. They're cooking a baby.
They got a baby.
Which is exciting. Super exciting. And it's like so beautiful to see. And
how about that?
It is. It really is. It really
is. But I told you, they reminded me of them early on. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went to distance, is all I'm saying.
What was that? So let's move over to somebody who's not going to the distance, and that's Jasmina and Michael.
Oh, at all. They are bound.
Jasmina and Michael are really very close to giving Chris and Voldemort.
Let me tell you something. And I said this on Twitter. Shout out to the people who hopped on from Twitter. We had a couple more this weekend. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. Jasmina is a way smoother, better looking Alyssa.
Way.
Okay. All she does, Jasmina is only Miss Troll with more finesse. And we are seeing it. She's exposing herself more and more every week. And I'm starting to think that they got together because they are friends, because birds of a feather. I'm starting to think they got together and concocted these idiotic dog stories together because they're There's no way that it's a coincidence that they both came in on the same episode, hitting people with dog stories. I'm allergic to dogs. That's why I wasn't here. I wasn't around because my dog needed a new school. Like they were in cahoots. They both said,
Let
let's
me
blame it
say,
on the dog.
I really don't want to even get Jasmina is the problem is that I can see how Michael can have faults, right? Like I don't want to all the way,
Everybody got faults.
and I can see how him transitioning into this space where he's a husband might be a little bit different from him for him. Like we have to understand that like certain things will force
Patience.
evolution and will require patience. Exactly. And I think that where they are, I think that she has no patience.
At all.
And I think that stems from her just not liking him.
At all. And not giving. I think if she was more attracted to Michael, she would have more patience.
It is not up for debate. Okay? A cute face gets you a long way, y'all. You know what I mean? It gives you a lot more grace in certain rooms, and especially in your room. Okay. And
that's true, man. And I just think that my issue is this, right? Because I said this before in previous seasons. I don't have a problem with somebody not being attracted to the person they were paired with, because it is literally a toss-up, right? But my issue comes with people like Miss Troll and Jasmina is how you react to that. How do you handle not being attracted to them, right? Do you just not show up whenever y'all aren't filming like the one bull did, right? From the one season, the basketball player? Or do you gaslight them and make them think that it's something that they did, like Alyssa does, right? Or do you do the same Troll does? So I think my issue is that the way that she's handling this situation is very much Alyssa-like, very much Troll-like, where everything is blown up. Everything is, oh, you were aggressive. You were screaming at me. You were doing this. The cameras catch in the history of Married at First Sight. The cameras have literally caught almost everything at one, especially by episode 7. The cameras have caught at least 2 seconds of whatever it is that you griping about, if it's legitimate. You calling Michael this Mr. Hulk of a monster, and then saying, well, which somebody probably told you about.
Told her to say.
Somebody,
cameras,
nobody's seen it.
How do you
Come
know
on,
the
bro.
cameras didn't catch it?
How do you know? Ooh. How about that? Because I didn't even think about that. You're not even watching. The show's not even out yet. At the time that you're filming this, the show is not out. So how do you know this?
But let me tell you how. So this is so I think she's still talking about and harping on the argument they had on the honeymoon.
1,000%. She talked about it in the session with Pastor Kyle. They went back to it.
Which is absolutely positively insane. Granted, I'm a girl I'm an elephant. Y'all, I already told y'all that. So one thing I'm gonna hold is a maybe tapping grudge. So I'm not saying that.
But you can tell that this is an escape.
But that's the
difference between this and people who just hold grudges is that you can tell it's a flaw for some people, where they just literally can't get over it.
Yeah.
For this, it's very evident in very Troll-like fashions. You are looking to hold something on him,
and she talks to him in your kind of way
all the time.
Like I feel like
all the time
they were in therapy, so I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I felt like the way she was talking to him could be perceived a certain way as well.
All the time, aggressive, all the adjectives and all the words that you wanted to use for him,
which I didn't like either. Why would you?
Which that's what he didn't like.
You know what I mean? Why would you call him aggressive? Like for all intents, for Joe and I dealt with something very similar, and you make a conscious decision where you're like, we didn't fight the same when we first got back together. And there was a time where we was fighting the same and it just wasn't healthy. And then when we got back together, we were fighting on much different terms, but you're around different people, you learn different things, you do different things, right? And I think we were in very different spaces. And it was certain things I just was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean? And I think, and vice versa, right? But I do think that you make a decision. I'm saying all that to say, you make a decision to say, I could leave today. Like, Lord knows, you know what I mean? But you just say, I'm going to be conscious of the fact that I have to give this person space and room to rise to the occasion. I can't just say, you need to do this now, and then not give me the opportunity to do that. I voiced how I felt.
1,000%. You have to adapt to the relationship, right?
Yeah.
So
And give
having
it
different
room to
having
grow.
people come into different new relationships, having different communication styles,
A
having different,
thousand
and
percent.
I think that is playing itself out here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that with Jasmina, she's giving a little bit of gaslight.
A teeny bit, a teeny weeny bit.
And I'm just kind of like, and even Michael, you saw in the session with Pastor Kyle was like, I'm with you. I told you that I have flaws because I do. And I told you that
And
there's
I feel
certain
like you holding on to
communication
that.
things that I work to, but the same way she held on to the family saying one thing to him, and the minute he just opened his mouth, she was like, "Oh my God, you're doing with your families." It was y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it's giving Miss Troll all over again.
But it's giving. Why does it matter? There's going to be a time in your life where it ain't a human on this earth that know your man more than you know your man.
Because if I'm looking for an out, I have to harp on this.
And that's what she is doing. And girl, Miss Girl, we see you. Like we see
We're not
you.
stupid. I mean, I'm seeing the memes after the show. You feeling like Alyssa is feeling.
And you think
You're not
pulling the
convincing
wool,
us that you're a good
right?
person. Like you can tell us that you're a good person
Well, we
all
know
you
you're
want
not
to.
a good person
We know
because
you're
you
not.
hang out with Alyssa.
Period,
And that say a
Miss
lot
Troll.
about you. As I mean, I'm certain you got a good heart,
But
but that say a lot about you, sweetie. That's all I'm gonna say.
the same way Miss Troll got on the TV and said,
Wait,
tried to convince
wait.
us what?
Are you talking about what she said today?
No.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
same way she got on the TV and tried to convince us 1,000 times last
Oh,
episode that she was a good person is the
child.
same way that you can't convince us that Michael is this monster of a person who has you terrified of communicating or
Because
saying
that's
anything.
what you're trying to get
That's
us
what
to
you're trying to
believe.
do. And I'm so glad Michael was like, I will give you that. I told you there's
Yeah,
certain
my
things
tone.
that I have to
You
work
can
on.
tell he got a
He's-
condescending tone. Listen
He's
to his voice.
and he said that. He said, I might have said, he said, I might have had moments in conversation with you where I said things in a way that wasn't palatable for you, but don't sit here and call me aggressive and a monster and rah, 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 rah. Because he was like, that's bullshit. And I'm glad that he
But
said it.
listen
And
to
that's
how she speaks as well, because she doesn't even let him. The fact that Pastor Kyle had to intervene with their back and forth says to me that you ain't got it all going on either, sis, because you would be able. Silence is such a powerful thing. Like if you give somebody just the room, you know what I mean?
And by her own accounts, it's never happened. It's never a thing. Like she'll talk about a time and time again of times that Michael did this and Michael did this, but we never. And he said, "This is what I'm working on." We've heard him in multiple episodes say, "I'm working on that." Da-da-da-da-da. When have we
Because
ever heard
sometimes you
Jasmina say
don't
that?
know.
When have we ever heard Jasmina say it?
We haven't.
Never.
And she does have some. She has some grow. She has some growing to do.
Everybody
And
got growing to
I
do.
mean, let's be clear.
So how is it that
Let's
you
be
the only
clear.
one who don't got growing to do?
Or you don't see how you show up in the same manner? Because honestly, I don't see how they any different.
Me neither.
I think their temperament is completely the same. You know
It
what I
is.
mean?
And I think that it's unfortunate that she's giving this Alyssa energy because I think that the experts
Did a
found
good
something
job.
and found something with this
I
parent,
agree.
and she's ruining it.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what though? I ain't surprised. I'm not surprised. They basically solve it and move on or whatever the case may be. But I still kind of felt like he said it was better after that, so I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm just not all the way sold on Jasmine and Michael, if I'm being honest.
Me neither.
Oh, we've skipped a huge part.
What did we skip?
So how do we feel about Michael talking? I'm sorry, guys. I just looked at my notes. How do you feel about Michael not telling Jasmina about his two
I think this was
women roommates?
So I think that this was another situation, another opportunity for Jasmina to pounce. I think two things could be true. I got that in too.
Okay.
I think two things can be true. In the same way that I was speaking about Mark and Lindsay, I think that should he have told her at some point? Absolutely, right? I think that she's in the same breath. She's also using this as another excuse to plant another flag and be like, "Look, see."
Yeah, because I thought it was a big deal but not a huge deal.
Because he is like, what do you think this? He literally admitted, like, okay, I should have told you. But then he also was thinking, what am I trying to pull over on? What am I trying to get over on you? They're roommates.
The only thing,
like, I never told you I was dating a girl.
The only thing I didn't like was, do I believe that that thought is valid? Yes. Do I feel like that was the time to express that thought? No, because it's not giving her the room to feel her feelings. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like sucking it out. Like, it's not like, girl, you crazy. Like, no, I'm not crazy.
The problem
for
is,
feeling like this.
Absolutely. The problem is when you've abused these small things, so many,
it kind of invalidates.
Yeah, it's like she exactly. She's done so. It's been so many. I don't like how he poured the orange juice.
Yeah,
I don't like how he did this. I don't like how he mows the lawn. Like, when you abuse so many situations, when it's the boy who cried wolf. Like, so this would have been a legitimate space for you to be in your feelings and do all of that, but you gaslighted him in so many other areas that even he is like, this is not this is not as big as you're trying to make it. You're trying to make it seem like I was running around behind your back with one of these Jones, and in reality it was, I should have told you, but I didn't. But let's leave it at that. This is not the aha moment that she keeps trying to get. She keeps trying to get an aha moment, and he's like, "Yo, like, what is going on?"
We saying that from a space of seeing these like little things mean, like she's trying to make something out of nothing, kind of thing, right? So we see from their perspective. Because the problem is, it's like the girl who cried wolf. Like, if we nail you, like, got a reason to cry wolf, but we ain't even here for you.
Yeah, like that. And we as the audience are also gonna be caught victim to that, right?
Yeah,
like she's gonna have some things where it might be legitimate, and I'm already like,
yes,
because I've seen you bullshit this man already. So now I'm like, from the honeymoon on, I've seen you bullshit this guy. So now when you do have something legitimate, I'm already gonna be predisposed to roll my damn eyes at it.
Let me tell you something. I really felt where she was coming from, where it wouldn't have cost you nothing to say it. But however, I also got where he was saying, like,
I just met you yesterday.
But I also don't think that he's friends with, he literally said, I wouldn't say I'm friends with my roommates.
Right.
So that means something. Like, you know what I mean? They might. I mean, that wasn't the point. The point is that you didn't disclose that information, and she disclosed that information. But I just think that.
Well, his point was your roommate was at the wedding.
She wasn't given.
And mine was not, because I don't even talk to these Jones.
But imagine you living in a house with people, don't talk to them so much that you get married, they ain't even there.
Straight up.
Come on, like, so you got to think that they don't mean nothing to him, like, you know what I mean? But I get where she was coming from. What do y'all think? Are we not giving her enough grace? So lastly, let's talk about let's talk about this Joan right here. Tired of this. Oh, so let's talk about, first of all, Chris moved into the apartment by his goddamn self. Okay.
He sure did, because he's committed to the process, and he also was contractually obligated to be there. And before he just bounced, he needed to be there and have this session with Pastor Kyle, which was on the schedule.
But I like that he sat down and talked to his friend first, his best friend, the ones that Elijah Wan called corny, because they were sitting there talking mess about their friend or whatever the case may be.
Because they
were, and that was wig. And he sits down and talks to him, and his friend is like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. Like, you should just not be in this situation. She was like, he said, I don't know anybody with an eagle tattoo who wasn't like, what did he say? Like the Second World War or something like that? Like, who was still getting those? Like, you know what I mean?
But this is more of a list of BSing him and finding different ways to gaslight him, finding different ways to play the victim. And I'm glad that he talked to somebody who is not even watching the show, right?
For sure.
The show is not out at this point. So these people are just hearing these accounts and going, she's full of shit.
But even her mama, and the problem I had with her mama is that she's obviously an enabler. Like, some people got parents
1,000%
who hold their kids accountable, and some people don't. And I don't think, you're good, bad, or indifferent because of it. The only reason why I think she's bad because of it is because she raised, a terrorist. And I think that she's a bad human being for her to sit like, so her mom literally asked her the question, what are these huge, she was like, well, we just are just fundamentally different. So her mom was like, well,
what are the differences?
What are the differences? Well, all over his social media, you don't even notice about his social media the first night. So however you acted on the first night, you didn't even know.
How about this? You
So
on his social media, but don't even got didn't even give
you
him
didn't
your
even
phone
talk to him.
number.
You didn't even
You
give.
even got your phone number. So that means you went on his social media to look for reasons to not like him, and she told on herself
Yes, she did.
because tell me you're a Trump supporter without telling me you're a Trump supporter.
Like you don't understand defund the police. But you know what?
There was a picture floating around on Twitter of him with a t-shirt that said "Stop killing
Black people.
black people." And when I saw the picture, I said I knew that something like this was floating around on the internet when she sat up there and said, "Well, we just got different political views." Oh, so you mean he doesn't like the unlawfully killing of black and brown people?
Like
Like we needed another reason to
his
dislike this
best
show.
friend is a cop. He said defund the police because he had an actual reason why he thought that they should be defunded. And his best friend is a cop and understands his views.
1,000%. But we know this is more of Alyssa trying to find
Please
different.
stop saying this woman
We
name.
know that this is more of her trying to play victim and change the situation and to paint this picture that this guy is a monster. He's disrespectful. He's aggressive.
I cannot. She said
They're
he's
politically not
I just
aligned.
cannot deal with the disrespect.
Yeah.
And her mother gonna say, well, he does need to apologize to you. Like, are you kidding me? I have never seen. I don't get to see. Oh, I'm about to say something so controversial and bad,
What?
but I don't get to see white people in their natural habitat all the time. And I thought to see that moment was like literally watching something like Shark Week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just sitting there like,
Yeah. This is how
oh,
it happens.
this is what you do. Because to me, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? First of all, anybody in my family knows I'm the queen of accountability. If we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about for real. Do not give me the bullshit that you telling the lies in your head. Everybody knows that about me. And I check everybody like, go ahead, you can tell them lies to yourself. Tell me the truth. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
But it's like, I think that to sit in somebody's face and know that they BSing and continue to allow it, it's like
She knew, the mom knew that she was bullshitting her. The mom knew that.
that's why she asked that question. She was like, "Well, he seems like a nice guy to me. Like I don't, you know what I mean." And for real, sis, I know him just as long as you know him. Probably had a long conversation with his ass.
But also she told on herself in that conversation saying, "But when I walked down the aisle, I just immediately knew like, oh, this is not what I asked for."
Literally,
You told on yourself. You told on yourself with
you're
the
an
whole
idiot.
political thing of, well, he said this and da da da. Then I looked on his Instagram. Then his family said this and all of this stuff. Like she just continues to tell on herself. And I hope that we have arrived to the point where I can talk about the bones that I got to pick with the cast regarding this situation, as well as
Yes,
Pastor Kyle.
he. He didn't take it to the house like I needed him to, but I need Pastor Cal to really come in, kick the door in, okay, and start calling things.
What you want to call him?
Listen, I see. No, that was for Chris. That's what Chris should have said.
What he should have said.
But Chris should call her, you funky dog head ass.
Dog bitch.
That's what I would have been like. The way I would have let, I would have been like, everybody would have called a bullet that day. Ain't no way in the world y'all gonna hook me up with this raggedy ass hoe, okay? With these motherfucking lips full of 17 chins, this raggedy raggedy ass hair. Y'all gonna hook me up with her, and they're gonna have her treat me like this on television. Ain't nobody good. Nobody is good. I would have been an actor shooter. Period.
Chris really was very reserved.
Call her that again.
He was too reserved. He, to me, really didn't lean in the way that he should have leaned in, especially with Pastor Kyle being there. And I felt like Pastor Kyle
was trying to give him the room to call her the thing.
He was trying to give him the room, but I do feel like Pastor Kyle what was going on with you that you couldn't give her the same energy that you gave Chris, the other Chris from last season? That same energy when he was trying to tell you some bullshit and you knew that I'm allergic to it and I'm not about to sit here and let you do this. You know, you've seen the videos. You said you, Pastor Kyle, to his own admission in that session, said, I've seen video of you guys doing this and I've seen video of this or whatever, right? So
He called you to the carpet a little bit though, but not nearly enough.
You know that she's been bullshitting him for weeks. You know that she's sitting here with her tears trying to bullshit you right now. She's trying to bullshit you right now. She's the victim. He's this. He's the Hulk. He's the big bad monster. He's aggressive. He's disrespectful. He's this. And Chris is just sitting there letting her talk like he normally does. But Pastor Kyle should have came in and really gave her the tea for her fever and not let her get away with sitting here and playing victim like, I just can't believe I'm in this situation. This is not what I came here for. This is blah, 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 blah. I'm just glad that Chris, the little bit that he did stick up for himself, I'm glad he did say, I'm done with this because I've been here. He was way classier.
Yeah, because I
didn't even have to be
dog head ass bitch. Okay,
funky dog head bitch.
Literally,
that's what she.
I gave it right to her. Like, whore, let me tell you about yourself. You fucking snaggletooth ass mammy. I would have got all the way into it, all the way, and I would have burnt down the damn book. Period. I was like, I don't even understand how you. Oh well, you know. I understand. Like he didn't go ham, but you know what? I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me tell you why I'm about to give you the benefit of the doubt, Chris. Because you're a realtor. If you can't be seen talking to women like that,
you can't.
And I get that. Women, dogs, trolls, whatever this whore is. I'm so tired.
I just wanted him to get a little bit realer in the conversation and say, like, you know, that was an opportunity to say. She's talking about how she's been. You're insinuating that I wasn't here for the right reasons. That was the space for him.
He should have said yes.
But that was
no. I'm telling you weren't here.
And that was the space for him to say, I don't even have your phone number. How is it that you are so committed?
Continue to show up for production.
You keep saying, well, I had the opportunity to leave when everybody knows you're contractually obligated to be there. You couldn't leave, and you asked your lawyers. If you could legally leave, and they told you no, and that's the only reason why you're still there. But we're gonna let you say that, which I didn't like that anybody let her say that, because I want to. Pastor Kyle is aware of this too, so I didn't like that Pastor Kyle didn't let her just talk, and I didn't like that Chris let her just talk and not say, like, first of all, I don't even have your phone number. How is it that you've tried and you've been here and you've been committed to the process and nobody should insinuate?
I know Pastor Kyle was done because he was like, when he said you get a divorce, he was like,
okay.
Because usually he want to fight. No, don't do. Blah, blah. He was like, okay. Like, you know what I mean? I get it. But let me tell you why I'm proud of Chris. He is reclaiming his time. Let me tell you something. See, what you thought you was going to do was drag me out like I'm some nut. Right. You know what I mean? Oh, because you're going to get all these little itty bitty checks or whatever the case may be. Nah, sis. You know what I mean? You won't make $1 off of me. It will not be off my back. Ooh. Call her it again.
Hey, dog head, bitch.
I have never, and y'all know I love women. I really do cape for women in every act. Listen, I'm going to defend your right to be wrong, baby. That's the girl I am. I have never experienced anything on TV like this.
I mean, she is literally, she's literally the worst cast member in the history of Married at First Sight. And for her to not get the strong arm of the law by any of the experts, they should have sat them down and had all three of them out there and just let them tee off. And just let them tee off.
Because you need to hear this, because it's
right before you leave.
Nobody you know is telling you this stuff.
Nobody. And they should have had production sit down. They should have had Dr. Viviana come, Dr. Pepper come, Pastor Kyle come, and somebody from casting to sit down and be like, first of all, you bamboozled us. You worse.
You lied.
You worse than Mirla. You worse than Chris. You are literally the worst cast member to ever grace the stage of Married at First Sight, and we need to call you on the carpet. And I just didn't like that they let her walk off in this victim role
Oh,
esque.
crying, girl. What the? Is this not what you want? Then you gonna cry these crocodile tears, y'all. I'm not with it. Bad, bad, bad energy. Just bad. Just a terrible human being. And all these black women caping for her. It ain't our job
that was
to
the other
save
thing.
these hoes.
Let's talk about
it's not our job.
just for a minute. Let's talk about, because the casting, I don't understand this. And this might be a deeper conversation for another day.
It might be.
But even in the after hours, you saw the cast, Katina, who really wasn't doing the Jasmina.
She wasn't. She
walking
wasn't.
on eggshells and caving thing. Typically, she wasn't. Typically, she hasn't been doing that. But in the after hours, in the after party, everybody was walking on eggshells. It was like, I think that maybe she could have done a better job. I just think that everybody, it's like, why can't we call a spade a spade? Period. And he's gonna be transparent, but why can't we? I don't understand why. And we've seen Jasmina call a spade before, but we've seen Lindsay call a spade before. Why are we walking on eggshells with literally the worst cast member that's ever been on this show? Why is everybody tiptoeing around what happened?
But this is not just that. This is such a bigger issue. We have a mutual friend whom we love, you know what I mean, for all intents and purposes. However, him and I were having a conversation, and he says, like, just because I'm a Trump supporter doesn't mean like I'm racist. And I'm like, no, that's exactly what that means. Like, just because you have managed to mask,
or you're not bothered by racism at all.
Well, to not be bothered by racism is to aid and abet a system that oppresses another person, right? So even if you are in the business of not being bothered by it,
which is
you
bad
are
enough.
a racist as well. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're okay. That says you're okay with it. You know what I mean? And you're okay with the
because
system
if it don't affect you, then you good.
Exactly. So let's be clear on that. So and not to say I don't know anybody. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. We are open to that as well. I don't know any person who knows people who said, don't defund the police. I got a girlfriend, her husband is a cop, and she said the same daggone thing.
How about that?
Because if y'all aren't going to do what you're supposed to do, guess what? You won't have the funds to do it.
How
about that? You know what I mean? And it's not about like y'all not. Well, you know how I feel about first responders. And
we all know what that was. We all know what that was.
Yo, I haven't been. I am really taken aback, and things like this really bother me. And I know people probably sitting back and saying like, "Oh, you wouldn't say that if you was in her face." Y'all don't know me. Okay, like y'all do not know me, because if you knew me, you know that'd be the first thing out my mouth. I don't smile at bitches' faces. I don't say nothing nice to them. I am not that girl. Never have been. If I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you for life. I think that she's a terrible human being.
She is.
I'm so disappointed in Lifetime for
and let's call it
giving
out.
somebody a platform like, because I don't even have a problem with you being a conservative. There's no issue with that. You are not a good person. There's a fundamental difference. And we in our black bodies align with people like this because in the moment we feel like, oh, they're good to me, but they're not good for the betterment of our people. And that's the problem. And not to say that they're supposed to be Malcolm X or somebody. I'm just like.
And I just think that this is, again, maybe a bigger conversation for another day. But I think that it's very telling, especially the cast in the production. And people on, the experts, I think it's very telling how we saw their energy towards her be very different from an energy that just even last season that they gave Chris, right? And we could talk about the difference in pigmentation.
Come on.
We could talk about the difference in their sex, whatever you want to put it on. I think that it's very, because not even Chris and Paige, right? From last season.
Oh my God, y'all, who are these people?
Not even I'm not even talking about society, because if you log on to Twitter or Facebook, they're tearing her apart.
Yes, they are.
She's how do you forget Chris?
Yo, I had no idea who these people were.
I think when you log on to social media, you get on a Twitter or whatever, they're eating her alive.
That's a fact.
Just as they should be. So I think
I mean,
that it's very,
tearing her
I
apart.
think it's very weird and very telling that we see the energy on camera is very different. Like this is she has terrorized this man worse than we've seen anybody be treated on Married at First Sight. And the fact
Literally.
that the energy towards her is so different from the
Even
cast
Michael was
and the
like,
experts,
I
it's
hope
just
she,
whack
he
to
said,
me.
I hope
It's just whack.
she, mainly her, he said, I hope they, mainly her, could take a moment and reflect on
Straight
how
up.
they acted towards this person. And my thing is this: what we
Because
not
this ain't
gonna do,
they keep trying to make it a mutual thing on the show, which is really messed up.
And it's
like
not.
this isn't a situation. This is a person.
And Keisha really not. Keisha seen it. Keisha like, no, this is her. It's not really him.
Keisha was a little light-handed in the After Hours 2 on her though. I thought that she was.
I don't think she could. She couldn't come out there like, blah, 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 blah.
But she could. I just don't. I don't know if if this is a directive from somebody up high and I don't know, but I feel like and we don't know. Keisha wasn't on last season, so I just feel like the energy that we've seen other people get, other fuck boys, let's call it what she is. The energy that we've seen other fuck boys get on this show, it's not the energy that these people, in front of the camera have given her. Online, she getting it. Online, she getting it. If you go on any of the platforms, she's getting it. And then we see the cast and we see the experts, and everybody's like, well, I think that maybe she should. I mean, it's just weird. And I think that we all understand the elephant in the room about it. And this is what we talk about when we talk about things like that.
Well, let's end it with this. What we need to normalize is not wishing people good luck when they out of our lives. Stop wishing. You don't know how many wishes you got in your life. You better save that for something important. And it ain't wishing a bitch you don't deserve it good luck. So let me tell you this. I wish all of y'all love, sweetness, happiness. Okay, I'm gonna cook my man something to eat. We doing cheesesteak grapes and sweet potato fries tonight. Something fast. I ain't got nothing else to say. Thank Beyonce that Voldemort is no longer on this show, or hopefully we don't see that.
We think. Don't speak too soon.
Hopefully. We shall see, child. I hope you guys enjoyed this. All right. Make sure y'all subscribe to this Mammy Tech channel. We out here working, ho. And we'll see you beautiful motherfuckers.
Peace.